This is uLipSync plugin made by Hakomi. It runs in real time in Unity Play mode. It works by listening to my mic and guessing what sound I'm making and moving the character's lips accordingly. You don't need any pre-baked lip sync animation. Just go to play mode, start speaking into the mic, and your character will follow your mouth movement. No webcam needed, no external application needed. And the best part? This uses MIT license, which means it's free for any commercial use. To install this plugin in your Unity project, first go to the uLipSync page and go to the release page. Scroll down and click on the Unity package file to download it. Before we install this Unity package, we want to make sure that we have the required libraries installed. In Unity, click on Window menu and select Package Manager. Change the package selection to Unity Registry. Search for Math and click Install. Do it again for Burst and click Install. Then you may close the window. To install the Unity package in the project window, right-click on the Asset folder, Import Package, Custom Package. Find the uLipSync package we downloaded earlier and open it. Make sure to select All and finally click Import. This should create a new folder called uLipSync, which means the installation is complete. Let's move on to setting up this plugin to work for your character. It's important to know the two components needed for the lip sync to run: uLipSync and uLipSync Blendshapes. uLipSync is the brain of the plugin. On its own, it doesn't move the lips muscles. Its job is to listen to what sound is being played and decide which lips muscle to move. From then, it will send a command to uLipSync Blendshapes. uLipSync Blendshapes receives the command from the brain and moves the lips muscle according to the command. Let's implement that now. First, create an empty game object called Lipsync as a child game object of your model. Let's add a new audio source component. Then add in uLipSync component. Then let's assign the profile. For this demonstration, let's choose Profile Sample Female. Profiles are the list of phoneme sounds that this plugin can listen to. This particular sample only supports the vowels, which is perfect for a default VRoid model we're using. We'll get into how you can calibrate your own profile later in the video. For now, just remember that there are 5 vowels and 1 empty phoneme. It's worth noting that this uLipSync component will only listen to whatever audio is played in this audio source component. Both are paired automatically in the same object. Here's an example where I played background music with a separate audio source. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. The uLipSync component doesn't listen to the music, only to my sound, and therefore it doesn't move the character's mouth with the music. Next, we have to set up uLipSync Blendshapes. First, select the parent object of our model and add in uLipSync Blendshapes component. In the Blendshapes section, we want to add in all of the Blendshapes names listed in the profile before. So that'll be the 5 vowels and the empty phoneme. Each name has to be exactly the same, uppercase or lowercase, or it wouldn't work. Then, we need to select the Blendshapes that correspond to each phoneme, except that the menu doesn't show anything. This is a slight bug. To fix it, we just need to select the Skin Mesh Renderer drop-down menu, select anything other than face, and then select the face again. Now, the Blendshapes drop-down menu should show us the entire Blendshapes on the face game object. Leave the last empty Blendshape empty. The last step is to link this component with the onLipSync event. Let's return to uLipSync component again And in the onLipsync event, click on the plus icon and drag in our Vita game object to the new item in the list. In the function drop-down menu, navigate to uLipsync Blendshape and then choose onLipsync update function. And that's all the setup you need. Now we can try this by importing any pre-recorded audio and loading it into the audio source component. Enter play mode, and Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled pepper. We can see that it sort of works. The mouth definitely moves, but it can use some improvements. But before that, I think it'll be easier if we can just use our own mic and have the character do lip sync live with our own voice. This is very easy. In the uLipsync game object, remove the audio clip from the audio source component. This field has to be empty, otherwise the mic won't work properly. Then, add in a new component called uLipsync microphone. Enter play mode, and now you can use your mic to hear an echo of your own voice, and your character will do some degree of lip sync following your voice. You may also notice that our character also moved their mouth with any sound, like typing or rubbing. We can fix this and improve the quality of this lip sync by doing a bit extra work. The first thing we need to do is to make a theme group, which is a group of different human sounds that make similar mouth shapes. For example, when you speak B and P, your mouth makes the same movement. This is a clever shortcut for any lip sync animation, because if they look the same, we can just animate one mouth shape for both of them. Different languages use different sets of sounds, so you will have different sets of theme groups for different languages. In English, there are 44 sounds that can be grouped into 10 to 13 groups. But we can reduce these groups even further depending on your model's level of detail. In this demonstration, I'm using a VRoid model, which doesn't have proper teeth or tongue movement. So, for example, we can easily group S and Z as one group, because the tongue movement can be animated using VRoid models. Then we also need to consider the limitations of this plugin. This plugin works by analyzing a continuous stream of audio to make its database. That means it can detect most consonants, which are basically small bursts of sound, like B and P earlier. So that narrows down our list to just these 8 groups. So now we need to add some custom mouth blend shapes based on these groups into our model. You can do this yourself by using any blend shape modification tool, including Blender. But if you're using any VRoid model, I highly recommend using my NepPro plugin that you can get for $3 on my coffee shop page and help support me making this kind of tutorials in the process. With NepPro, first I am modifying the O mouth blend shape because it doesn't look like an O at all. And then I'm adding in the new ash and blend shapes. If you don't want to pay for NepPro, you can download this model on my GitHub page and just copy the blend shapes from this model using NepLite for free. The link is in the description. With the new blend shapes, we can now add it into the uLipsync blend shape component and assign the new blend shapes to it. Then we can go to the uLipsync component and click on the button to create a new profile. Let's rename this new profile to ReForge profile and put in our new blend shape names to it as well. Remember, the names have to match precisely with the names on the profile. And now we can do some calibration. Again, this plugin works by comparing the sound from the input with the profiles of sound it has already known. So all we gotta do is to tell the plugin which sound corresponds to which blend shape. We can do this by either doing it live with our mic or by putting in our recording file. I'll show you how to do both of them. To do this live with your mic, first make sure that uLipsync microphone component is active. Then go into play mode. in the uLipSync component, you want to scroll down. You can now see there's these buttons, right? So what we want to do is we want to hold it, and this is going to start a calibration. So now we can just say the phoneme that we want to record. So in this case, I'm going to say and then release. Here's the next one for I, E, release, and then the next one for U, U, and there we go. And of course, the last step is to not forget to click on this save button here. Otherwise, your profile won't be safe when you close Unity. It's recommended that you do this in a quiet place with a decent mic. Otherwise, the sound profile won't be clear enough to get picked up by the plugin. I don't have a great mic, so my preferred method is to just use recorded audio. With recorded audio, I can apply some cleanup to any noisy audio all I want. In my case, I just use my OBS filters to do that automatically for me. I won't go into too much detail on my settings, but it is a combination of noise suppression, noise gate, and compressor, which turn my audio from this noisy sound into this much better sound. When recording our audio file, just like with live mic, we want to speak in a long sound as monotone as possible, about 3 to 5 seconds each. Once we import this audio into Unity, in the Lipsync game object, first disable the uLipSync microphone component, or just remove them. We just need to add in uLipSync Calibration audio player component and drag in our recorded audio. I highly recommend you to lower your PC volume for this next step because this part is going to be very annoying. Then let's enter play mode. Your recorded sound will play automatically on loop and it won't stop until you're finished. All we gotta do in this component is to just highlight which part of the audio we want to loop by dragging the left and right pointer. Optimally, we want the loop to be as consistent as possible without any wobbly sound. Try to shrink or expand the areas between these two lines to get the best result. Then, in the uLipSync component, we click on the profile button and hold it down and then release it. Move the pointer to another sound and hold another button in the profile. Rinse and repeat for every item in the profile. Once you're done, exit play mode and feel free to remove this uLipSync Calibration audio player component because we no longer need it. Don't forget to click the save button in the uLipSync component or your new profile won't save any changes. The good thing is we only need to do this profile calibration once. After that, we can simply drag this new profile to the uLipSync component for every character we want to do a lip sync for. To test the accuracy of this lip sync, the best way to do that is by reading the phonemic chart that I shared with you earlier, and then we can compare it side by side with the model's lip sync. So here we go. Sheep, ship, good, good, shoot, bed, teacher, bird, door, cat, up, far, on, here, wait, tourist, boy, show, hair, my, cow, he, boat, tea, dog, cheese, June, car, go, fly, video, think, this, see, zoo, shall, television, man, now, sing, hat, love, red, wet, yes. So yeah, it's a bit of hit or miss because again, this plugin can only detect vowel sounds. It struggles heavily with tourist or any ch or j sound. So definitely not for a cinematic animation or games where the miss in the lip sync can be very distracting. This is the trade-off you unfortunately need to make to have a live lip sync animation. But I could still see some use cases where this plugin can be very useful. Maybe you have a multiplayer game where the player characters can talk to one another. You can use this lip sync on every character's mouth. Or you want to create your own VTubing application. Or maybe a chatbot where your waifu have some lip sync to it. In all of these cases, the mouth movement doesn't have to be precise. It just has to be good enough. Other than that, this lip sync plugin actually has more useful features that I don't cover in this video. What about animating textures data instead? What if you want to use animator blend trees to animate the mouth movement? What if you want to record the mouth movement in cutscenes to save performance? You can find all of the features explained very well in the uLipSync documentation page. Special thanks to Jaffe and my other patrons for supporting this hobby of mine. You guys are awesome. As a patron, you will often get some sneak peek of my next project or an exclusive video like this one for Blender. If you want to see more tutorials about hidden Unity plugins, consider subscribing and ring the bell so you won't miss out. And with that, I think I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.